Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. I've been extremely pleased with Dbrand's KillSwitch case so far. And nope, not sponsored, just sharing my own impressions after using it on the road. It not only provides protection, but also adds that much needed grip to the Joy-Cons, which I genuinely enjoy. If you'd like to see my hands-on review, there's a link in the description below. But of course, having a travel case and not actually traveling kinda defeats the point, so I decided to put it to the test and brought my Switch 2 with me on vacation. Previously, with my OLED model, I used a standard pouch, and it did its job, it protected the console, but that was about it. What I didn't like was how bulky it had to be just to avoid pressing on the sticks or the screen. And when you're flying low cost, every inch of space counts. We all need those extra pairs of underwear just in case of extreme situations, right? Now with the KillSwitch, that problem's gone. I didn't have to worry about space anymore because the protective shell is the case. What I loved most was the simplicity of it. I didn't have to bring an extra bulky case and a grip. It's just all in one piece, and if I'm being honest, this was the first time I traveled with a Switch and it didn't feel like it was annoying to carry. There's no shortage of Switch cases out there, and most of them are at a fraction of the KillSwitch's cost. And if your goal is to spend as little as possible, some of those might do the job just fine. So you might be wondering, why should I choose Dbrand's case over anything else? Well, most budget cases come with a mix of benefits and some pretty obvious limitations. Just searching for Switch 2 case on Amazon gives you a lineup of soft pouches, similar to what I have for my OLED. They protect your console, like I said before, and they often come with space for accessories, cartridges, chargers, which is all great. But if you find the raw, naked Switch uncomfortable to hold for long periods of time, or you're just trying to save space in your backpack, then those bulky pouches might not be ideal. Then, if you search for Switch 2 grip case, you'll see a wave of budget-friendly options that offer palm support and some ergonomics. Some honestly look better than others, but cases that also include a protective screen shell, especially one that can hold game cartridges like Dbrand's, those are either rare or non-existent. And even when you do find one, chances are it doesn't support docking, or the listing just doesn't say it. Everything Dbrand has accomplished with this product has been thoughtfully put together. It all makes sense from a user's point of view. Protection is the main job, of course, but it also goes further than that. The Joy-Con grips make the console feel more ergonomic, they mold perfectly to how you naturally hold it, and the screen cover doubles as a cartridge storage while protecting the display. In fact, I can honestly say that since I got the KillSwitch, I forgot what the console even looks like. So with that in mind, I packed my bag like I normally would. I didn't go out of my way to durability test it, I wasn't about to throw it off a balcony, but I also didn't treat it delicately. I loaded up my clothes, placed the Switch at the top, then stacked my headphones, drone, and controller right on top of it. I basically used the Switch as a shelf. Somehow, I did manage to scratch the front shell permanently, but honestly, that's what it's there for. It took the damage so the screen didn't have to. No hesitation whatsoever. On top of watching a few movies, I've really started enjoying gaming during flights. There's something about having options to fight the boredom that just makes me feel more relaxed. And thanks to the snap-on cover, getting the Switch out and ready is seamless. It fits perfectly on a budget airline tray table, and the whole experience just works. After a fairly long journey, I finally arrived at the hotel, genuinely excited to relax and escape the chaos of everyday life. I'd been gaming quite a bit during the trip from home to hotel, so as you'd expect, the battery needed a top-up. I grabbed the console out of my bag, and no surprises, everything was exactly as I packed it. No damage, nothing loose, no scratches. The Switch was in pristine condition. And when it came to charging, I was also pleasantly surprised to find a cutout for the top USB-C port. I know that seems obvious, cause of course Dbrand would include that, but I never actually charged the console with the cover on until now, because I hadn't traveled with it before. And these are kind of little things you only appreciate once you start using the case day in and day out. And a quick shout out to Nintendo, the bottom charging port gets blocked by the elastic strap of the cover, but thankfully the Switch 2 has that second top port, which makes this whole setup possible. Since the console is still new in my world, a lot of my downtime on this trip was spent playing and testing it out, and I have to say that Hitman World of Assassination had me completely locked in. I've been a fan since the OGs like Blood Money and Absolution, and this version feels amazing on the Switch too. The visuals are sharp, the controls felt natural, and it didn't feel like a downgrade from the PC version at all. It's honestly the perfect game to take on the road in my opinion. My sessions were around 40 minutes to an hour depending on the day, and after each one I'd still have 50 to 60% battery left, which actually aligns really well with Nintendo's battery claims. And yes, I tested this with a full charge. If you didn't know, you can cap the charging at around 80 to 90% to extend battery lifespan, but on this trip I turned that off because the extra 20% came in real clutch. Of course, Hitman wasn't the only title I tried. I was hyped to see Donkey Kong released and downloaded the moment I saw the reviews. I've never really played anything like it before, but after a few sessions, I might have just become a fan. Something about limitless destruction just scratches a very specific itch. It kinda reminded me a bit of Teardown. My play sessions weren't limited to the hotel room either. When it was time for a bit of a spa treatment, I grabbed my beach bag, and thanks to the case strap, it was super easy to pack. Just toss the Switch in and head it out. At the pool, it was incredibly relaxing to squeeze in a quick session of Hitman while my sunscreen soaked in. And when it got too hot and time for a swim, I didn't hesitate to leave the console on the sunbed. That's the kind of trust the KillSwitch earns. Now, while I had zero issues myself, I know some of you might have seen chatter online about Dbrand's Joy-Con grips being a bit too relaxed. Basically, under specific one-handed conditions, and on some units from the initial batch, a few people experienced the Joy-Cons detaching more easily than expected. Dbrand identified the problem as a minor manufacturing tolerance issue, which only affected a portion of the early production. But rather than playing guessing games, they're taking the high road and replacing everyone's grips for free. The new design is called Joy-Lock, and it's supposed to fully eliminate the detachment risk. And as a bonus, based on more user feedback, they're also including a set of friction pads for the dock adapter. These will make one-handed undocking a lot easier, so you won't need to grip the dock with both hands like before. Replacements start shipping in August, and if you already own the KillSwitch, you'll get an email with all the details when it's time. Even in 30-degree weather, the case held up. I was a bit concerned that the black shell combined with the console's natural warmth might make it a bit uncomfortable to hold, but that never happened. In fact, I've got to give props to Nintendo for the fan, cause even running demanding titles like Hitman or Cyberpunk, it was whisper quiet. No overheating, no loud noises, just nothing. And speaking of the protective shell, I only noticed this after getting back home. The cartridge holder is magnetic and fully detachable. Why did I carry it with me this entire time? Who knows? But I love that level of modularity. If you don't need it, you can just remove it. It doesn't help much in terms of space, but you might feel some weight difference. If I had to sum up what I appreciated most about this case, it's how seamlessly it fits into my routine. It's not just a travel case, it's a part of the Switch now. I've never had to make space for it or adjust how I packed it, and yet I never felt like I was compromising on protection, and that's a pretty rare combo. At the end of the day, I can wholeheartedly say that KillSwitch case doesn't live up to its name, and that's a good thing, because it won't kill your Switch. If anything, it will protect it at all costs. And after taking it across borders, stuffing it into bags, and gaming in all sorts of places, I always had peace of mind. And if you're someone who games on the go, or even just wants a well-designed case that doesn't get in the way, this might be worth considering. I've linked my original unboxing and impressions down below if you want to check that out too. Thanks for watching, and hey, if this helped or even mildly entertained you during your lunch break, maybe give that like button a gentle pat, no pressure. Thanks again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.